Hi. Um, I just kind of wanted to talk today about how I find, well, another thing that non-vegans do very weird, and I don't know if to call it stupid because it's more like brainwashed and not stupid, but I find it really weird how, like, only vegans will understand this, like, to an extent, and only, vegans that made the full, complete connection between animals and the fact that they are like us and they're not food or machines or objects. And, made the connection to the point where, like, I find cow's milk gross, not only because of the bacteria and crap that's in it, but and well also because of the abuse, but I also find it gross because it's breast milk from a different species. And the thing I find weird is that when people, I can guarantee that if someone were to suggest to any person, the adult person, to drink human breast milk, they'd immediately be disgusted and, like, ew, gross, are you kidding me? Like, what's wrong with you? I'm not a baby, I'm not supposed to be drinking breast milk. But then they go and drink breast milk from a different species. And to the point where also, like, they find cow's milk tasty. Some people also drink goat's milk, but the thought of drinking another animal, like a giraffe's milk or a dog's milk, is gross. And again, that's like stupid. It sounds stupid, but it's just plain brainwashing that we've been all conditioned to believe that certain animals are meant to be our puppets or meant to be used by us, to the point where we actually believe that they are not living beings, or that their bodily fluids or bodies are food for us. Like, the thought of eating human flesh is gross to everyone except for cannibals. But, like, like, you like suggest to someone, okay, it's said as a joke, but like, sometimes, when someone says that they're starving, you can say, oh, we're not going to get food for another while, so why don't you cut off your own arm and eat it? And people are like, haha, very funny, or something like that. Or other people are like, gross. And like, what's the difference? That's the what I don't understand, is that I know I can't be the only one who's fully, completely unbrainwashed myself from the state that everyone gets brainwashed to believe that certain things are food and certain things aren't. Like, when I was first vegan, like when I just went vegan, I never made this full, complete connection. But now, there are these idiots that'll continue to be like, bacon, or like, oh look, I can eat this cookie and you can't because it's not vegan. Like, they're trying to, like, make me feel bad, or make me feel like I'm missing out, or like make me, like, feel like it's not fair because I can't eat it. But I'm just sitting there like, you just pushed breast milk and a chicken period in my face. That is beyond disgusting and is not appealing in any way. Like, that I've come to the point where literally I don't want, like, it's been like that for a while, that I've never even considered eating something non-vegan before, because I just know that it's gross and that it's not food. It's disgusting. It makes me sick to even think of eating it. And, to the point where people will literally be like, okay, like, most people, won't eat ostrich eggs or other, like, bird's eggs or pigeon eggs or parrot's eggs, okay, because it's immoral or gross, or that's not food, while they eat chicken eggs, as if that's any different. It's the same thing. Or, the same thing, chicken's eggs, except for the fact that they're different animals. Chickens, parrots, Ostriches, they're all birds. So except for the different species of birds, different size of eggs, they're the same exact type of animal. Like they're all birds. And if you're talking about eating eggs, then like eating chicken eggs should be as repulsing to people as eating crocodile eggs or snake eggs, because it's not food. It's gross and it's just not food. I don't get it. I seriously just don't get why it's so hard for people to understand. I've talked to several vegans, not blaming them because, we've been brainwashed, and when you're brainwashed and the whole world still believes in the crap that you were brainwashed to believe in, it's hard to sort of wire your brain to think differently. So it's hard. And I still think that not all vegans have come to the point where they have reached that mindset that it's just gross and not food. And I've talked to many vegans that feel helpless, that feel like they crave cow's milk and stuff like that because they miss it. And to the point where I talked to someone in a vegan group chat yesterday, and told them we talked about it, and she or they, I don't know, but they wanted to eat milk, dairy, like cow's milk, and they wanted help because they just couldn't make themselves not want it. And the simplest thing, I suggested, a few other people suggested other things, but I suggested some other things as well. Point where to realize that animals are suffering greatly, and if you were in their place, you'd want someone to do something to help you and to not support your abuse and murder. Right? But one of the last things I suggested was try to imagine whenever you think about cow's milk, whenever you want to drink cow's milk, just imagine that it's the breast milk of a dog. Because people are conditioned to believe that cow's milk is food, but dog milk isn't. So that might help. And they ended up saying that wow, I didn't think about that. That's a great idea. That's going to help me so much. And hopefully that wasn't sarcastic. It didn't seem sarcastic because they thanked me with a lot of hearts, and they said wow, I didn't think about all that. But the point is that it's just so weird. It's just so sad that humans are so brainwashed to the point where we think that one species' breast milk is tasty and healthy for us, but another species isn't food at all, just because, we've been conditioned to believe that from a kid. I can guarantee that if you told a 5-year-old child, not the typical thing that adults usually tell kids, that cows give us milk, or that milk comes from cows, or cows make milk for us, or cows, something like that. But if you were to tell them that cow's milk is breast milk that comes out of boobs of a different species, you tell it to them plain like that, because a kid knows what breast milk is. So if you tell a kid that cow's milk is literally just breast milk from a different species, they would probably not want to touch it because it sounds weird and gross and like they shouldn't be eating it. Meanwhile, people will literally be like, ew, dog's milk is so gross, why would you even suggest drinking that when cow's milk exists? Humans are weird. I don't think, I don't know why I feel like I'm so alone in this, to the point where, I've talked to several vegans and very few of them actually came to this specific mindset that I have. But I just don't think I'll ever be able to understand humans and why we do what we do and why we... I don't know if so easily brainwashed is the right word. Because, at the end of the day, you can't really control, when you're a kid, you believe what you're told most of the time. Or if not all of the time. But, what I don't understand is how, once we grow past infancy, we don't see a dead chicken in the freezer and be like, wait, that's a chicken. I can see that's a chicken. I know that was a chicken. I know that he was alive. But somehow people never actually make that connection, because they were brainwashed to believe that animals are nothing more than food. That those specific animals are nothing more than food. I just wanted to show you Bobby. My baby. But yeah, I'll just never understand why people do what they do and why adults are incapable of believing, incapable of understanding that, you know, the very basics that should be understood, in my opinion, that cow's milk is breast milk and is not meant, most specifically for adult humans. It's not meant for humans at all. I don't understand why humans still find eating dead animals appealing when, you know, clearly if being vegan was unhealthy, you'd hear in the news all over about how vegan diets are bad and vegans die early and vegans get a lot of health issues. You'd hear, you know, people wouldn't stay vegan. There wouldn't be any vegans or any, like almost any vegans, because they're dying and or getting very, very sick. Make it make sense. Help me understand why people are so stupid.